Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. This is your friend Ursi, and 2025 has already kicked off to be a year like no other year before. So many of us tracking astrological, auspicious moments on the calendar are just in awe of how fast time seems to be speeding up, how synchronicities seem to be happening left and right when we're aware of them, and how the dream time may even cross over to where was I? It was as real as being in 3D. So many times I'll be thinking of someone and the phone will ring and there they are. So, this idea of telecommunications, telepathy, hypersensitivities to our clairsentience, just the knowingness that we're really in a different time frame. And whatever may be happening in your world, that if you could pause for just a moment and remind yourself, like I try and remind myself, that at some soul level, each of us signed up to be here now. Like you are in the perfect place and you're experiencing the perfect amount of balance between, you know, ease and flow and then the challenge. So prayers go out to colleagues and families and friends in California. I'm in Northern California. We're having a first ever massive fire near us. And then in Southern California, the devastation is just unbelievable. But holding this energy and light that we've come to witness, we've come to see what decisions we're going to make in this now moment. Are we going to continue to live in fear? Or this time, are some of us going to choose love? And even more than that, are some of us even going to stand in this space of witnessing? So, not even calling it good or bad, challenge or non challenge, ease or flow. It's just witnessing the all that is. So many of us might remember lifetimes in Atlantis. And so the dreams of apocalyptic surprise, whether it's through flooding or fire or famine, it's all up for us now. And we get to rewrite our own story. How do you want to rock? And so for me, just in the joy of it all, I thought I'd come online here today on the playground and just share with you a little bit more about how I enjoy astrology, because it is this map, this idea of, well, what did my soul agree to? What did I agree to before I incarnated in this lifetime? And surprise, surprise, for many of you old souls, and you know who you are because you chose the most dramatic or the most intense or the most I don't know, it's the duality, what's going to push you this time to expand and become more aware of your super galactic consciousness. So we don't typically grow or expand unless chaos enters and there's pressure. All right? So 2025 feels like chaos is already here and there is pressure. How do we want to hold it? You know, we don't necessarily have to put our head in the sand and pretend it's not there, but instead, how do we keep ourselves informed, but hold it? Hold it like in a chalice of, I see you. I see the contrast. You can see the annoying one that's walking in right now as there's the contrast. I see you, but I do not have to react. I get to respond perhaps differently in this lifetime. I'm actually wearing one of these little um, harmony balancers, harmonic balancers with technology. So I'm bringing out all the little stuff that reminds me to be still and focus on what brings you joy. Okay, with all that said, let's hop into some astrology because I just love, love, love astrology. All right. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself. However, here we go. So there is the one in the center, the inner child, little self that's totally filled with imagination, wonder, and the belief that whatever I focus on, I can make come true. And so in this 2025 year, again, the wood snake is coming um, as we greet January 29th, 2025 for the Lunar New Year, setting our intentions for 2025 with snake energy. Let me say that again, with snake energy, the divine feminine, the snake who rubs its belly on Mother Gaia, who collects all that information of the earth. And let's imagine the snake going up in the tree, the wood snake, and working with the tree energy, holding us in the ground, and then putting our branches up into the stellar heavens at night. So here I've created a figure sitting in a relaxed pose. My friend Kelly Brett actually helped create this particular diagram. And I've added Haumea. I've added the lions, let's say the lion-esque figures from Lyra. I've added Pegasus to remind me to buckle up and get ready to fly. And here's Osiris, an image to remind me, as the pharaohs all knew, that at the moment of death, your solar boat or ark will come and you'll return to the heavens. And of course, galactically, remembering that there are supracosmic points that all are reminding me to stay centered, that there is a universe within the universe within the universe. And if it's outside myself, to remind me that it's within me as well. So anything I'm seeing outside, it's learning to say, it's in me as well. So as above, so below, the Hermetic principle, but as without, so within. So let me get going though to talk to you a little bit about astrology. All right. So this is what we call a natal astrology chart. And what you're seeing is the wheel. And at the center of the wheel, you're seeing some geometries. These are aspects making particular connections to wherever the planets and the sun were at the moment of birth. This is my particular birth chart. And so when I was born in the very early morning, the sun in Virgo, here it is, was just right above the horizon line. Okay, so the horizon was sitting at 22 degrees of Virgo. So the moment I was born. So in the dark, almost morning hours, here we go. And across the chart, the descendant was Pisces. So my ascendant, my rising sign, where was the sun? Well, for me, my sun was rising. It's placed in the 12th house. However, many astrology charts or calculators will sometimes put my sun into the first house only because it's so close to the ascendant. It can pop basically either in 12th or first house. I kind of think of my Virgo sun, 20 degrees of Virgo at the ascendant. I kind of think of that as, yes, it's double Virgo to have a rising sign in Virgo and your sun sign in Virgo, as this is how I'm presenting myself. I love to reflect on information. I love to share information, gather it, and see if I can synthesize it by analyzing it and offering it to anyone who's wanting to know more. All right. So here we go. So the ascendant at 22 degrees Virgo, 18 minutes. This is the rising sign. All right. So my midheaven, here we go. MC is the midheaven, is 22 degrees, 25 minutes of Gemini. So what we're seeing is the square, the natural square between how I present myself in the world and squaring the midheaven. All right. So for me, what that means is sometimes I know who I am, I present myself, but I am challenged within myself, a square, to sometimes come out into the world. So it's taken me this many years to sometimes come out and start talking about astrology, about the galactic engagement, about co creation. I mean, keeping it more in the mundane world of painting or motherhood, or other light and trite things would be easier for me than actually showing who I truly am. So, how I hold these red lines of the square, squaring both my sun, my identity, and my rising sign, is that it's an internal challenge. An external challenge to me would be an opposition. So, where does that show up? Well, we see this blue line here. Of course, every north node, my north node is in 8 degrees Leo in the 11th house of community and network. It's squaring all your natal north and south nodes will be opposite each other. Excuse me if I said square, opposite each other. All right. It's just natural. It's not actually an object in the sky when they talk about the nodes. It's the head and tail of the dragon. Let's say it's a metaphoric dragon. It's a calculated point. But when we look at this U shape with two little circles on it, that we know is like a carrier for this is what you brought in from your past life. And so my past life coming in 8 degrees of Aquarius, 18 minutes. And believe me, I'm seeing the 8 and 18 together. It's conjoining its energy, or it's next to the planet Saturn. All right. So 5 degrees Saturn in Aquarius, 18 minutes in the fifth house of creativity, romance, and children, self expression. So I perhaps came in as being able to work with the structure of Saturn. It's also a marker for having a past life with my father, um, or whoever was the one who provided the structure as you grew up. So, this relationship with my father, who was an Aquarius sun, it's just like kind of these interesting markers, right? So, coming in, let's say, if one were to interpret this Aquarian, so a teacher, perhaps a master, let's just say of painting, but different types of painting, I brought that in. But opposing that, what have I set the course to do in this lifetime? Well, not to work alone in the studio or by myself, but instead to work in the 11th house of my networks, of my friendship groups, of affiliations. So it's more of a transpersonal house. It is the house that Aquarius rules, the one that is seeing into the future. So the challenge for me in this opposition is going to be, can I step out and let myself roar, fully roar? This is who I am, within my networks. And it's going to be very different. It's going to be a strange roar. It's going to be a roar that maybe you haven't heard before, but it's going to be purely me. So there you go. So, in opposition, if my north node is opposing Saturn in Aquarius, yeah, there was tension with my father and I. All right. He helped serve a certain role of this tension, loved him, but boy, could he be the exact opposite of what I would think a loving, caring father would be. So that was the challenge. That's the setup. I give grace to him. He's passed, but it's like, wow, you played your role pretty well. And free will enters because, he could have played this role in a light way, in a medium way, or a very heavy handed way. And so when I do my life review, and I'm sure he'll be there, I have a sense that he'll be there and we'll both get to see the rippling out of his life upon mine and my life upon his. In this way of looking at astrology, it helps clear the air for me that no one was a victim here. I mean, I had to come to this very slowly, but there was injury, there was trauma, there was pain. However, on a soul level, it really pushed me to be who I am today. And I'm trying every day to try and remember that and embrace and live a life where I'm really very much aware of what I am rippling out, especially into the communities, such as on this YouTube channel of the Ascension Playground. All right. So, this again is just astrology, earthbound. This is me in my human form. For those of you, again, who are new to astrology, if you have one of these green triangles, okay, in this particular, it doesn't have to be green, but this is known as a great trine. Okay, so a grand trine. This is a particular geometry where whatever's at the end of this, the tips of the triangle, this equilateral triangle, is dancing together to create ease and flow. So we find out, well, what do I have ease and flow with? I look, here's Scorpio, here is Pisces, and here is Cancer. So these are the three signs of water: fixed, mutable, and cardinal water. So I can work with water or the emotional realms with a kind of, okay, what else you got? I can shift gears, emotions, and meet and greet other people's emotions, perhaps in a way that we would call like an emotional intelligence factor. When you switch over and look at human design, I'm what they would call an emotional projector. So a guide that will help, make decisions and help for myself making decisions when I'm on this emotional wave when it is neutral. Okay. So the emotions are going to play a big impact in this lifetime as Ursula. Okay. But you see this green triangle? So who's dancing together? Well, we see right here the glyph for Neptune in Scorpio, 11 degrees. Here's one of the dance partners. So this Neptune in Scorpio, come over here, is dancing with 13 degrees of my natal moon, my moon in the sixth house of Pisces. It's also connecting into my part of fortune. It's an Arabic part. Where am I going to find my blessings? It will be in service, in my daily, day-to-day work, and in my body. Okay, so here we've got 15 degrees part of fortune, 13 degrees Pisces with my moon. So they are dancing together. And then the triad, this big grand trine of water, comes up here and is working with Mars in Cancer, 13 degrees, 52 minutes in the 10th house of career. All right, so you see 13, 11, and 13. Very strong with how my Mars works in Cancer, works with my moon in Pisces. What does that mean? Well, I can have ease and grace. Things will come easy to me to put out into the world. My dreams, my visions, how I'm tuning into the ethereal realms. And Neptune, yes, working in Scorpio, the dream archetype, the one that is expansive and tunes into things that may not be clearly known, the illusion of things. So, if you're more advanced in astrology, you'll know that my Mars doesn't really like, it's a fiery sign. It doesn't really like to be in water. So, I've challenged myself with a watery Mars in this beautiful triad. Okay, I'm feeling like that's enough. That's a little bit. You always want to know where your ascendant is, your rising sign, because the ruler of the rising sign, in this case, it's Virgo. The ruler of Virgo is Mercury. And here's Mercury sitting in my first house of Libra. So my identity will be very much connected to being a communicator that can bring balance, harmony, or judiciousness, like seeing both sides. So that's a very Libran way of communicating. And so when you see the rising sign, look at what sign it is, and then find the ruler of your rising sign. So again, for me, it's about my identity. I might look very mercurial in some ways. I may look very Virgonian. So Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but so is Gemini. So that's at my midheaven. So it has a different flavor, Mercury in Gemini versus Mercury in Virgo. We won't go there yet. But the three most important things again, your ascendant, your sun, where's your natal sun, and then your moon. They work together to help inform the biggest brushstrokes on your canvas in this lifetime. Now, for some of you who are already familiar with the language of astrology, I've just added using the calculator with Julia Balaz, and I'm adding in with the calculator where some of my conjunctions are. Conjunctions are merged energy. They show the strongest soul connections. So for me, the super galactic center, which is the center of the Milky Way. So you have the center of the Milky Way, our galaxy, is called the galactic center. But the galactic center has a center to it, and it is called the super galactic center. And according to folks like Philip Sedgwick, it has around 33 universes that we know today spiraling around it. So just when you thought you could get a handle on this universe, there's a center to another universe and many universes around that. So I don't want to digress there, but what this tells me is being so close to my ascendant and working with Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, at 0 degrees of Libra, 16 minutes. Anytime I wanted to call in Lilith and say, okay, if I don't want to be labeled, if I don't want to be submissive in the old paradigm of the patriarch, how do I want to go forward and rock? So the supergalactic center will help inform me when I sit still and I meditate. And again, working in the Libra energy, it's myself and the other. Well, who's my partner? So looking around this wheel, I can see galactic star families that I can partner with. Let's start up here with Sirius A. Look how tight Sirius A is sitting at 13 degrees, 33 minutes of Cancer. It's sitting right on top of my Mars, which is also at 13 degrees. Imagine that. So the brightest light in our heavens at night from Earth, Sirius A, and some of you might think, oh yeah, Sirian starseed, working with my natal Mars. This is the passionate go-getter, pioneer. Let's go make things happen in the 10th house. How will the Sirian star family in Sirius A help me light up the fire of immortality working with my passionate Mars? For me, it's putting an equation together and saying, when you're passionate about something, we're here to go deeper with you and bring our own intelligence, our own technology. I mean, the Syrians were known for the geometry, sacred geometry, the building and working with the human DNA, working with the Pleiadian star mothers. When we look around and see amazing temples like the 3 pyramids at Giza. So Syrians. So to remind my soul self, this is such a strong conjunction working with my natal Mars. And do you see, because I shared with you, it's helping to activate this grand water trine. So I know that I have help from beyond the realms. And if you didn't know, what separates us out from many other, let's say, extraterrestrial aliens, the ones that are lower vibration, is the human ability to have emotional intelligence. This is a differentiator, okay? To feel things deeply, to have a broad spectrum of feeling, to claim the feelings and feel the colors of them and work with feelings in a positive way. in an authentic way, not limiting feelings to just what is acceptable or appropriate, but to feel it and to feel more of it. This clairsentience of just feeling into it and knowing, I know that I can work with my Sirian or Sirius A star family when I want to, again, activate this grand water trine. Okay, so who else is there to help me? Well, look at, here's a word, a star named Achernar. Achernar, 14 degrees of Pisces when I was born, 47 minutes. And it's very much strongly in conjunction with my 13 degrees moon and sitting between my part of fortune. So here's a star between my natal moon and my part of fortune, which brings me my blessings. If the moon is my reflective, my emotional self, my mother archetype, you know, and here's my part of fortune. And if I want more blessings, why wouldn't I think about, hey, Achernar, sit with me. Help me understand, oh, great river in the constellation of Eridanus. This is the bright star at the end of the river. And I'm starting to get a picture of the end of the Nile, right? The Nile River in Egypt, where all the great soil, the wealth, the memory of the water traveling down, 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 finally hitting the star. It's a marker also for one who can hold and anchor in during times of great distress and chaos. Achernar, I am going to call you in very strongly in 2025 because I know that the ride for this year is going to be like when you went to Disneyland. It's not the baby ride. It's not the intermediate ride. It's the ride that loops you around several times and you just go, okay, I chose to go on this ride. Here I am. Maybe Achernar can help me buckle up and help support me when I'm feeling a little out of balance. All right. Well, that's a lot to share with you with the galactic. What else wants to come through is I can see if I want to go out in the world for a vocation. I mean, at this stage of life, I'm enjoying the joys of semi-retirement, doing only things I love. So who's out there to help me in my pursuit of more fun? Well, I've got these stars. Again, finding them through the Galactic Astrology Calculator. And if you look on this YouTube channel, I actually have a recent posting for how to use the Galactic Astrology Calculator. You may not get to this wheel, but you'll get some information. And perhaps if you have questions, leave me comments in the YouTube channel. And maybe I can help answer or create another video if you have questions about how to use the calculator still. Anyway, here's my star team who's going to help me out in the world. Sirius A is going to help me light up and activate this grand water trine. Talked about the super galactic center, working with my natal black moon Lilith. Yes, I love that. It's part of my identity. And so looking into my own mirror, saying, yeah, Ursula, you've always been very sensitive to not thinking of yourself under the male, but trying to find that equal footing for partnerships and coming into balance with my own divine male, masculine, and divine feminine. So sitting well with both parts of myself. Here comes the Shapley attractor, which is another super cosmic point, another major black hole within the super galactic center. And later, I'd like to come on and do a little bit more about this beautiful star, Acrux. It's sitting on what's called part of the constellation of the Southern Cross. The Southern Cross, yes. It's not what you think the Southern Cross is. It's not religious. The Southern Cross is more about spirit coming into matter. So spirit, that part of the cross, and the horizontal, so the vertical spirit with the horizontal matter, Acrux, such a bright, shining star, working with my Neptune, my natal Neptune. Look at this, 11 degrees, 20 minutes in Scorpio for Acrux, and my natal Neptune, 11 degrees, 25 minutes I mean, these guys are merged, my natal Neptune with Acrux. Imagine the resources, house 2, the wealth, and I'm talking not material wealth so much as the wealth of feeling, of knowing. Um, it, for me, wealth is it, enjoying all aspects of my multidimensionality to sitting well in the center of who I truly am and sending out a frequency, again, activating this beautiful grand water trine to saying, if you're hearing me and it's resonating or you're getting goosebumps, it might be from your own soul family saying, pay attention. This is really important because many of us know that Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. Venus, more mundane, earthly love, physical love, love as we know it on planet Earth. Neptune, more cosmic Christ love, but for me in Scorpio, really deep, emotionally, really deep. And then here comes the Southern Cross, reminding me what wants to come into form through spirit. And it's not limited to my paintings. It could also be my children. It could also be these words coming through. It can be channeling. It can be poetry. So I have to remind myself not to limit. How does spirit want to come into form? I have to tell you, I have no pre-notes on this little chat here. You can probably tell, but it's like something that's just, I'm feeling compelled to share this, especially as we move into this next chapter of 2025. All right. So I have created here for the 2025, the support crew from Ursula to co-create, to go deeper. I mean, I don't want to live life like it's kind of a flat line. I want to feel into this life, into my 62nd year on the planet. I really want to feel it. I want to know it. I want to learn from it. I want to have it with ease and grace, sure. And I want abundance. But I didn't come here just to ride. I came here to have an experience that I could remember and hopefully share and interact. Again, my North Node is in the 11th house of you, my network, my friends, my associates. All right. So I've created my little self portrait here, the center from which these lines are all radiating out and are interconnected with each other. So I would take the belt star from Orion, Mintaka, and I'd put a little picture right in this little lavender orb. And then here comes Cygnus, the beautiful swan with Deneb Adige. And I'd put this beautiful star of, the swan. It's her birthing canal, frankly. And they say it's the tail of the swan, but it's a she, it's Isis, it's the birthing of the new. All right, I'm having so much fun. I know that sometimes you guys, it gets a little bit long, but this particular image is the Merkaba. It is Metatron. It is the flower of life. It is the 12 around the one. Whatever you hold it to be, I'm going to tell you this is a beautiful sacred structure to hold a powerful intention for you, if you choose it, to create your support crew for co-creation in this beautiful 2025. We're going to witness it, you guys. We're going to be part of it. How do you want to rock this time? Are you going to choose love or fear? Or a little bit of both, excitement or anxiety. So it's like it's all up because we're all going to get that push. And so if there's any way possible to write down your 12 star family members, put yourself in the center, add into these circles. You can find this image. If you Google image, star Merkaba, Merkba, and you'll find it. All right, so let me stop sharing. I wish you the very best with each day that you're here on planet Earth. I wish you the joy of really feeling into those patterns that you're releasing, you become aware of. They no longer serve you. Goodbye. Ba-boom. Oh, you again. Okay, I'm going to respond differently. I'm going to make a choice point to respond differently. And so much is going within and just telling yourself, it's okay. I'm okay. This too shall pass. It's going to be an adventure. And if you follow the beautiful Pam Gregory, astrologer on YouTube, Pam Gregory, she has repeatedly reminded us to stay in our eagle's perch, witness it, don't activate it, don't get stuck in this chaotic energy. Choose where you want to be. And if it is on that eagle's perch, fly high, screech so we can all hear you and find you. Maybe lay a few eggs for when we get into 2026. But have fun while you're doing it, if that's possible. Choose neutrality at best. I want to thank you. I know I'm leaving on a somber note, but I have so enjoyed the Ascension Playground. I come here to help myself evolve. I hope that some of this light sharing is resonating with you. And if it's not, that's okay. There's other channels. But in the meantime, I'll see you soon again on the Ascension Playground. Bye for now.